Today on Week in Review, Riverboat Days is set to take place this week in Terrace with many options available. Conservative candidate in Skeena have new ideas on how to keep ERs open longer, and Medallion has been brought back to the Northwest in provincial softball. Hello, I'm Damian Smith, and thank you for joining us here on Week in Review, where we outline news in the Northwest region. Riverboat Days is set to make its return this weekend, and this annual tradition is a staple in the Terrace community. Jaylene Matthews caught up with the Riverboat Days organizer and City Councillor Brian Downey to get a sense of what to expect this year at the festivities.
Riverboat Days is the largest community festival in Northwest BC, highlighting the culture and heritage of the region. Friday night will be the opening, with the customary cannon going off to commence the festivities. Saturday morning will be the parade, and Councillor Brian Downey says this year's parade will not disappoint.
The parade on Saturday morning is going to be the longest parade we have seen in a long time. It is lots of people are coming forward to be involved in Riverboat Days.
After the parade, concerts in the park will be happening at George Little Park, complete with food vendors and entertainment, with more events continuing over the 9-day festival.
And I think people will really enjoy it. Throughout the weekend, we have beach volleyball, Kitchell's Canyon tours. Next weekend, we will have the airport putting on a big, as you know, the airport's been going through renovations with their arrivals area, and they will have that open. And then on the Sunday night, the last event of Riverboat Days, we'll have the drone show.
Councillor Downey says Riverboat Days can't happen without community support, and he says the volunteers, sponsors, and contributors are what makes the festival great.
And one particularly I'd like to mention is PCL Construction, the company that's building the hospital. Has last year and this year are putting up the big saddle tent in the park. I really appreciate the contribution all of these sponsors make to the festival.
Riverboat Days runs August 3rd to 11th. For CFTK News in Terrace, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
And with that, a newer sport to the Terrace and Thornhill area will be making its official introduction to the public next week. And with that, I got a chance to speak up with this up-and-coming new group.
Growing up here in Canada, it wasn't a sport that was introduced to us in school, so I've just been learning about this for the past year, and it is contagious.
That sport she is talking about is cricket, and those who desire playing now have the option to do so at the Thornhill Agricultural Grounds. The grand opening of the pitch is set to take place at 1 p.m. on August 10th, and leaders of the group are ecstatic.
Riverboat Day, man. Every man and his dog in Terrace loves Riverboat Day. It's a great sense of celebration where everyone showcases their activity, their business, their passion. Yeah, we get to showcase and highlight our passion, which is cricket.
The opening is going to be very emotional for some. A lot of it is because this is a sport that they grew up with.
It wasn't always easy, however. In fact, it's been an over 5-year process. Players would play in a parking lot, playing through injuries for the love of the game.
They've been at it for, as I say, a long time, and their vision was exactly what Regional District has been able to provide us, and that is the cricket pitch.
And so this has really been the past couple of weeks. Only recently have we had the joy and privilege to be able to be playing on this pitch, which you'll probably see behind me. Is it the best in the world? For us it is.
In fact, days right before the grand opening, the team will be headed to Prince George for their first ever tournament, hoping to make their mark in BC cricket.
Win or lose, I just want them to give their 100%, and the outcome's always the outcome.
And I jokingly say to them, people aren't really going to ask, about what sort of a cricketer you are. They're going to say, what sort of guys are these that came from this region, So they're representing the Northwest, playing in Prince George, new boys on the block. Are we going to have fun? Man, we're going to have fun. So much fun.
Really, there's going to be teams from Kelowna, from Surrey. We know the competition is stiff. But you know what? These guys have it in them.
It's our first involvement in a tournament. We are super excited. Are the guys prepared? I don't know if the guys could be more prepared than what they are now. They are ready.
Their growth won't stop there, however, as the organization looks to expand to all people.
Introducing cricket into this region doesn't just cater for the guys. At the moment, it's really it's a male-dominated sport. We're hoping to change that.
They're really encouraging youth and women to really come out and play. So we really want to make sure that we have that platform as well.
From Terrace, I'm Damian Smith. A Northern BC couple is making the initiative to walk across the province to raise awareness about the number of children placed in care of the ministry. Once again, Jaylene Matthews from CFTK has more on this story.
Supporters gathered outside Terrace's Ministry of Children and Family Development offices to support a couple who are fighting for access to their children. Kimberly Joseph remembers when she was taken from her mother. She says her mom went to social services with her 3 children to ask for help, as she no longer had a place to live. That social worker then took Kimberly and her siblings, the youngest, a 2-month-old baby, away from their mother and put them in foster care. Kimberly was 5 and remained in care until she aged out. She says she could speak carrier when she first went into care.
I was speaking carrier and they tore it away from me, saying they couldn't understand me.
Kimberly sees the problem with taking children from their parents. And unfortunately, her own children have now been taken from her as well.
And as kids, we don't understand what supervised visits mean. We really don't. We don't understand why we can only see our mom for a few hours and then walk away. Because my children are doing it right now. They're crying for us. They want to come home, and I remember how that was. I remember looking at my mom and she would be bawling her eyes out and sitting there while they're talking to us, telling us they're going to bring us to McDonald's. That's how they got us. They said they're going to bring us to McDonald's as a family. We're going to go eat because it was their treat. So us kids, we jumped in. And my mom was sitting there. They jumped in and drove away without her. How does that affect a child when you do that to them?
Kimberly and Jordan have walked from Prince Rupert to Terrace to raise awareness about the number of children in care, especially Indigenous children.
I don't understand how people can take away kids and not feel that. How can you not hear their screaming and their crying for their families? How? I understand that some families really do need more support than others, but shouldn't you be helping that instead of taking the children? Shouldn't people be going to the families that need the support? Because you shouldn't be taking kids away. It really, really does affect them mentally.
Today they head out of Terrace and are bound for Prince George. The journey can be followed on Facebook and they are accepting donations. Kimberly says that once they make it to Prince George, as long as the wildfires allow it, they'll continue the awareness walk all the way to Vancouver. For CFTK-TV News, I'm Jaylene Matthews.
This past Thursday and Friday, the Carmen Arts Group put out 3 shows in the span of 24 hours, presenting the Pirates of Penzance, headlined by Graham Linton, Julia Yu, and David Clunas. Located at the Terrace Pentecostal Church, this play originally was being practiced at the beginning of May. Expect to hear more about this story on Tuesday with more from the actors and directors themselves here on CFTK-TV, along with the community that has been built in the Carmen Arts Center. Up next, the Terrace Mariners Softball Association comes back to town with some exciting news from provincials. A couple of weeks ago, Medallion was brought back to Terrace in a big provincial win for the Minor Softball Association. The team went a perfect 7-0, guiding their way to victory. And with that, I got a chance to catch up with some of the players and some of the coaches.
Getting lots of home runs.
Winning gold.
Winning gold.
How many home runs did you get?
Too many.
Too many to count?
One.
One. Got a lot of hits, a couple walks, played good defense. I would say it was an overall pretty good tournament.
That is the Terrace Mariners, a U13 softball team who made the 12-hour trek to Merritt, BC for provincials from July 15th to the 17th, coming home with gold medals around their neck. A long journey welcomed with 3 days in a row of over 30 degrees in scorching heat. The team of 12 players went a perfect 7-0 in the tournament, making the weekend's worth. It took the Mariners a bit to get the ball rolling, but they never looked back.
Definitely when we played our first game, I thought we were going to lose when we were down by 2. And when we played PG, when I seen Andrew on the mound, I thought we were going to lose, but we came in clutch.
Seeing their adjustment mid-game and being able to, find that part of themselves where they just channeled the coaching, channeled the right attention towards the game and make that adjustment in game and then be able to come out with that first win.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We just I think it was Cruz or Brython that started us off with a hit and a run, and then all of a sudden it was contagious and everybody else sort of jumped on that train, and yeah, we turned, and then the rest of the weekend it felt smooth sailing.
The Mariners ended the season on a high note, but the Terrace Miners Softball Association welcomes everyone to join the over 25 years of history.
My kids play a lot of sports, and I would say that Terrace Minor Softball is a really great organization, especially if you're a first-time player and you're maybe a little bit nervous or haven't tried softball. All of the coaches, all of the teammates are really welcoming and supportive, and it's really fun and laid back.
Maybe just not as intense and a little bit more driven around the fun aspect of the game, in which I think the kids showed that how impactful that can be and like how that can really drive performance as well, having a good time. So yeah, I had a great experience, and just the winning part's great too, but just the experience with the kids and how much growth they had, it's definitely going to drive me to come back and coach in future years for sure.
Last year, this same group were points away from winning the championship, but felt the pain of the silver medal.
The best part for me was probably getting gold after last year when we were so close, but then got second place and lost in the last inning by 1.
Felt good. Last year we came second, down by 1 point, and felt good.
When I got the medal around my neck, I felt very accomplished. I put in a lot of hard work in the off season last year and this season, and just trying to get it as best as I can be, and then all paid off. Thanks ML Anderson for sponsoring our team.
From CFTK-TV in Terrace, I'm Damian Smith. Now officially available, the public toilet installed by the city of Terrace, also known as the Portland Loo, is now open for usage. The toilet opened up at noon on Wednesday, and its official location, for those who don't know, is near the corner of Lake Halles Avenue and Calum Street. The toilet will be open 24 hours a day and 7 days a week, and anyone and everyone can access it. And for those who might be worried about how it would stay clean, a local cleaning company has been hired to regularly go down to the toilet and clean it. Other rules will be posted in the vicinity, and if there are any issues with the toilet, the number for the Terrace City bylaw has been posted on it for people to call. Source 3X and the Skeena Industrial Development Park have found some common ground to develop the Skeena Clean Hydrogen Hub. This project should be a large-scale hydrogen and fuel production center at the Skeena Industrial Development Park in Terrace, and the purpose of this hub is to produce clean hydrogen from renewables and other energy sources to meet a growing demand for clean fuels in a transition to zero-carbon transportation. And once this project is fully developed, it will produce up to 50,000 tons of carbon-free hydrogen. Originally headquartered in Oakville, Ontario, this Source 3X hub is the first one we will see in northern BC. A shiny new fully electric tugboat pulled into its new home in Kitimat Village on Monday. The High Sea Wammas departed the Vancouver harbor for the final time this past weekend to sail home to Kitimat Village, and High Sea is a Haisla and C-SPAN partnership. 8 members are part of the Haisla crew that brought back the High Sea Wammas to dock at the Bay Marina. Now, this boat is the world's first fully electric tugboat and one of 5 that are coming to the Kitimat village. And for many generations, the Haisla Nation has successfully navigated the waters of the Douglas Channel, while the High Sea Marine Seaspan says that they will continue to do so in one of the greenest tugboat fleets in the world. The rest of the fleet will arrive in Kitimat by mid-August and will support LNG carriers at LNG Canada's new export facility. The BC Coroner's Service says that the rate of deaths from toxic drugs in the province is down 9% in the first half of this year as compared with 2023. Still, though, about 6 people continue to die from these drugs each day in BC, with 181 deaths reported in May and 185 deaths in June. The coroner says at least 1,158 people have died so far this year, and nearly 15,000 people have died from these drugs since BC officials declared this overdose crisis a public health emergency back in April of 2016. In response to the latest death tolls, Addictions Minister Jennifer Whiteside says everyone who has died is irreplaceable to their loved ones, and the losses reinforce the need to protect people from the risks of these toxic drugs. After the break, a Conservative Skeena candidate has a plan to keep ERs open for longer periods of time. Conservative candidate for Skeena, Claire Rattay, says that the new Conservative healthcare model rollout plans to address system issues like ER closures that have plagued the Northwest. Most recently, Northern Haida Gwaii, Prince Rupert, and Kitimat emergency rooms have all seen repeated closures due to staffing shortages. Rattay says that this proposed plan would help aim to keep more ERs open.
A universal single-payer system that ensures that you will only ever need your BC Services or health card to access healthcare, but it can be provided both through government and non-governmental facilities to ensure that we can keep wait times low, hiring back many of the health professionals that are currently not employed in our system because of their own healthcare choices, repealing Bill C-36 so that we can actually keep ERs open and ensure that the healthcare professionals we already have are being utilized, and encouraging and incentivizing further professionals to work in rural, remote communities that are in desperate need of more healthcare professionals.
Police in BC are warning the public about what they described as a hitman scam. Prince George RCMP said that the fraud schemes involve victims who get texts or emails with threatening messages saying that the sender is being sent to kill them. Police say that the sender then offers to cancel the fake contract on them in exchange for money, while also requesting the funds in cryptocurrency. CPL Jennifer Cooper stated that the messages can be alarming, but it's important to remember that the scam is just supposed to make those people panic. The Mounties say criminals often find personal information about their victims by searching online, and they're also saying that they're encouraging people to review their publicly available details along with changing their privacy settings. Not only homes, but more culturally supportive places will be provided to the Indigenous community in Smithers. Here's an update from the Inland.
Construction will soon begin on 37 new homes for Indigenous individuals, families, and seniors in Smithers. The homes are being designed in close consultation with the community and will include cultural features such as Indigenous art, a cultural amenity room, a healing room, a community kitchen, and larger unit sizes to accommodate families and intergenerational living. Culturally safe programming, counseling, and advocacy will also be available to tenants, including support for individuals and families within the building, as well as the nearby Friendship Center. A tenant support worker is expected to be present during regular business hours. The housing is owned by the town of Smithers and is leased to the society through a long-term agreement, and completion of the construction is expected in early 2026, with the tenants moving in shortly afterwards. From CFTK-TV, I'm Damian Smith.
Earlier this week, Terrace's RCMP branch released a public report that disclosed that during the previous week, the detachment got around 214 calls in total. And also in the report, a few incidents were detailed, including one case where officers on foot patrol found a man and woman at an encampment who were in possession of drug paraphernalia, that resulted in the man serving a brief 5-day jail stint. This is because he breached several court orders that made him stay at an address and would not let him have certain tools. The report next talked about another case where a man was scammed out of around $8,000 after he was given a false opportunity to do some remote work that led him to putting his money into a crypto wallet. With the heat set to come back with a vengeance over the weekend and stick around for a while, the City of Terrace has since publicly released the specific conditions on when they would open up a cooling center. The daytime high would need to reach 28 degrees or higher, and the nighttime low would need to be around 13 degrees over a span of 2 days or so, which would lead to Terrace getting a task number from the Emergency Management and Climate Readiness Ministry so that they can ask for funds needed to open such a center. The Terrace and District Community Services Society and the Kasan Society then would need to have enough people to spare to run the center, most likely at the garage on Kalem and Kasan. But if a center did not get opened up, Terrace's bylaw and community safety officers will end up handing out water and snacks to people. Still to come, we will take a look at our wildfire update in the Northwest region. A brand new executive director has been named by the North Coast Community Services Society, and the one to take up the position is Michelle McNeil. Now, McNeil officially took the position on July 22nd, and she was previously holding the job of branch manager at the Northern Savings and Loan location in the city of Prince Rupert. The main purpose of this society is to provide various services as well as programs that are aimed at providing whatever assistance they can to help the residents and families of the Prince Rupert area. The rest of the board, along with the chair of the society, Michelle Crichton, all expressed excitement and enthusiasm for the addition of McNeil. And now on to our wildfire coverage. Back on July 8th, there was a wildfire near Extill River, which is located about 70 kilometers west of Kitimat. The fire was monitored and expanded to about 113 hectares, and it was reported that the blaze started from a lightning strike and not by human cause. However, this week the fire was deemed as under control, allowing those in the district to have a little more comfort. Additionally, this week the Category 1 campfire open burning prohibition is set to be rescinded in both the Northwest as well as the Prince George Fire Centre in BC. The main reason for the prohibition being lifted is due to local fire danger ratings in the area dropping due to rain and cooler temperatures that have been present as of late. However, the ban on Category 2 and Category 3 open fires are still in place, with fire daggers ratings being constantly monitored by the BC Wildfire Service. The Category 1 ban could end up being put back into place if conditions end up heating again, and those wanting more information on the lifting of the ban can find it at the BC Wildfire website. Currently in the Northwest District, there are 8 fires, with 3 under control and 5 deemed as out of control. Those 5 out of control are located on the eastern portion of the district. That wraps up our coverage for this week's edition of Week in Review here in the Northwest. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next week.